Why do you care? Why do you care was what the little boy asked me when I visited India. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to close your eyes for a moment and imagine a little girl, a 10-year-old girl, happily playing with her toys. It can be you, could be your little sister, a daughter. Her father is standing nearby, and instead of watching over her, filled with protective love like most normal fathers, this father has approved and taken payment of 50 pence. He's sold her to be used as a sex toy. Imagine the pain, the shock, and the betrayal of trust the first time this happened to her. How can a father be so evil? Open your eyes and meet one such little girl who was forced into the sex trade by her father to fuel his alcoholic addiction. We placed this little girl in a protective home, but within 3 days her mother was knocking on our door crying and saying, "I need her back. My husband is beating me." Eight years ago, I visited Kolkata in India to photograph a happy festival, the Durga Puja. My husband and I were tourists from the comforts of central London. Before that trip, we were reluctant to visit India because of what we had read and seen in the movies. We were scared and hesitant. Every time we stepped out of the comfort of our hotel room, we'd be surrounded by children begging, working and playing. When the mother of this little girl, when the mother spotted me, the tourist, with the baseball cap and the camera around my neck, she nudged her little girl and said, "Go beg." But this little girl didn't want to. You can see in her little face. But she knew she had to do it. But also see that the mother is covering the girl's knee. So the little girl came out and I looked at her face and I saw the sad smile in her eyes. Then I saw the knee and I thought, this girl needed medical attention. Then I thought of the movies in Slumdog Millionaire, where children were deliberately mutilated to gain more sympathy from the tourist. I wanted to scoop up this little girl and just take her to the nearest hospital. I wanted to hug her and shower her with love. I wanted to comfort her and tell her that everything will be all right. I wasn't prepared for this. All I had to give was my lunch, a sandwich. The look on her face of disappointment at receiving just a sandwich was so sad. She wanted money, but you can't give money to them because it only encourages the parents to send them out to beg. Children like her should be in school. But would you send your child to a school like this? Even a school like this is better than no school at all. Better than being out on the streets, having your childhood snatched away from you. Children should have a childhood. They should be playing at home, not out on the streets amongst broken glass and rusted metal. Children who run away from home usually end up living and working at the railway tracks. On one of my trips on a train, I encountered this little boy on his hands and knees sweeping up everybody's rubbish. I wanted to cry. I said to the boy, "You shouldn't be doing this. You should come to our school." And that was the question that broke my heart. "Why do you care?" he asked me. Imagine a little boy looking at you in your eyes and saying, "There's not a single soul in the world who cares for me." I continued to explore the dark side of poverty, and I was taken to a rubbish dump. And there I saw children and women scavenging for food. Families were living on top of the rubbish dump. Just imagine all the rubbish in your home in your bathroom, in your kitchen. Multiply this by hundreds of thousands of other homes. Let's throw in a few hospitals with dirty syringes and pus-filled bandages. When I stepped out of the car, the stench was so overwhelming, I didn't want to breathe. I actually wanted to throw up. How could people be living in conditions like this? The temperature in Calcutta at the time was over 35 degrees Celsius. The humidity was over 90%. It was smouldering from the bottom up. There was ashes everywhere floating by. There were rats, dogs, crows everywhere. Birds of prey circling above. If hell exists, this must be it. It screamed out to me that this is not right. Every night I'd go back to the hotel and I'd feel guilty sitting down to a luxurious dinner. I'd feel guilty climbing into my clean, comfortable bed with clean sheets. I appreciated being able to go see a doctor when I didn't feel well. I started to think about my life and how fortunate I was to have had a wonderful childhood, to have an education, to be able to give my sons a wonderful childhood. Nothing was going to be the same for me anymore, knowing that there were children right outside my window living such horrific lives. So when I returned to London, I decided to do something. I decided I would start up a charity. I started Googling all about child labour, child soldiers, child prostitution. The statistics had me in tears. In Kolkata alone, there were 250,000 children living on the streets. 30,000 children every year are forced into the sex trade or into domestic labour. I felt completely disillusioned. The sheer magnitude of the problem made my mission seem pointless. There were just too many children in dire need. But those images kept coming back to me of the little girl with the infected knee, the reaction of the boy on the train, and then those children living on the rubbish dump, scavenging for food and calling the rubbish dump their home. To save just one child would mean a lot to that child. I was motivated by the thought that to educate just one child would create such wonderful changes beginning within the family, and the knock-on effects would just be immense. Having been a stay-at-home mum for the past 20 years, it was difficult for me to re-enter the workforce, filling out forms and raising funds, but I was determined. 8 years on, the results of my charity in changing the lives of so many children was more than what I had ever dreamt of. I'd like to share with you some success stories. Here are two little boys at the front, Rahul and Amit, taken 8 years ago. They live in the slums. Their fathers were alcoholic, abusive, good-for-nothings. Their mothers had to go out and work as domestic labour. The boys felt guilty going to school, but with the help of our charity, they were encouraged. 2 months ago, Rahul graduated with his Bachelor of Commerce. Today he would like to become a journalist. His cousin Amit is in his final year studying his Bachelor of Commerce. These children are first generation educated in their families. They've been a true inspiration to their families, to their friends, and to their peers. Another story is of a little girl and her mother living on the streets. This 6-year-old girl was on the streets, and this man approached them and convinced the mother and said, "We need your little girl as domestic labour. She'd be much better off in a home under a roof, and we'll feed her." Now, what mother wouldn't want their child off the streets? Imagine the panic and the horror when this woman returned to the home 2 weeks later to find her daughter had disappeared. With the help of our charity and the police, they found the little girl 2 years later. And where had she been trafficked to? Australia. Trafficking happens all over the world. It's really frightening to think that there are people amongst us who could be involved in such a heinous crime. This little girl was placed in our home, and today she is a kindergarten teacher's assistant. Another project we support is one involving the daughters of the sex workers in the red light district. When the mothers go to work, they throw the kids out on the streets. So our project provides a safe haven for them, for protection and education. This project's been running for more than 35 years, and not one daughter has followed in her mother's footsteps. It feels so good to know that my charity has been able to change the lives of so many children. But not only have these children's lives been changed, but my life has been changed. I appreciate so much more in my life. I've got more self-confidence and more self-esteem. Problems aren't so big anymore to me compared to what these children endure. My compassion is only a small drop in the ocean of compassion. I would love to see a huge tidal wave of compassion. Compassion is essential to human relationships. It's essential to a fulfilled humanity. From my experience now, after 8 years of this charity work, I believe that we can use our compassion and turn it into action to work against the injustice of poverty, to help those children without a voice, those children who are struggling to live a life with simple rights like an education, medical services, and of course, a childhood. Imagine these two sweet little girls. If they were given a chance, an education, who knows, they could become the next future Prime Minister, rocket scientist. Did you know that today's present Prime Minister of India was the son of a poor tea seller? In closing, I'd like to give you the answer I gave to that little boy when he asked me, "Why do you care?" I said to him, "See those 4 women over there wearing our charity t-shirts? They care about you. I care about you. And where we come from, there are millions more of us who care about you. I believe that we can all use our compassion and turn it into action." The little boy came to our school that afternoon. Thank you.